Hi guys, Malivictus here. Sorry I haven't put a video up in a long while, and so I'm going to make up for it by doing you a nice simple how-to video. And that is, what's the one common thing that model artists, no matter what you do, your hobby is, what you do, which is, let me get it. Now I know you guys are huge fans of people like Awesome Paint Job Les, by painting, things like that, and you always see them use their airbrushes. Now this is a cheap knockoff of a Badger, and they keep telling you clean your brushes, clean your brushes, clean your brushes, clean your brushes, and you do clean your brushes, and there are specific chemicals out there designed to clean your brush. But what about artists that don't have an airbrush? What do they use? They use a regular brush. Now, I know some artists out there do clean their brushes, and I know a lot of us don't clean our brushes. That's one of our biggest pet peeves, is that we just don't do it. But I know there's a lot of people out there that don't know that you should. And so this video is aimed for the bare beginners. And the first things first you're looking at, you're probably thinking, why is there acetone here? It has nothing to do with the acetone. The acetone is the point I'm trying to prove, which is when you first read about cleaning your brushes, the first thing you'll get in things is paint strippers, acetone, various other chemicals to clean your brushes. Now this is, I mean, it's acetone, for crying out loud. It can be extremely dangerous. If you're doing it in a closed area like an office or a paint room or whatever you got where you paint, this stuff can kill you, okay? I only have acetone up to help clean off surfaces. Now, again, there are some chemicals out that you can use that are good for you. This is Orange Blast. This stuff is basically mean green. All it is just orange oil mixed with, I believe it's vinegar and a few other things. This is safe. You can use this on any form of brush, nylon, human hair, you know, mink hair, whatever hair your brush is, you can use that. Now, I tend to not, I mean, I use this, and I have used it in the past, but I'm not going to be using it in this video. And then, I also know that some people will use Windex. You can basically soak your brushes overnight in Windex, and the Windex will pull the paint pigments out of the brushes. Now that's great and all, but it doesn't work for nylon brushes because the nylon brushes are stained, so this will not pull the stain out. Now I hear you thinking, well, if you don't use any harsh chemicals, what do you use? And it's simple: soap. Ordinary, gonna scrub your pits, soap. That's what I use. This one I believe is palm olive. You know, I just use a regular bar of soap. You can use hot water or warm water or whatever. Now I've got some brushes that I've already done here and cleaned up because, well, this brush I specifically use for brushing my liquid putty. And some of these brushes, like these cabbage head brushes as I call them, these are my dry brushes. And so they get lots of paint inside the bristles, and so I clean those a lot. And then I get my lining brushes, which is one I just showed you, which is one like this, and then one like this was basically like a pinstriping brushes, lots of hair, very fine. Then I get brushes as deep as this, and I've even got brushes smaller than that. There you go, that's a brush with like 2 bristles. I use that for doing ultra highlights. Now, what I have here is a Model Master brush, a 3.0, right here. Now it's already been soaking in some of the soap. That's all it is just soap. Now I do have some brushes here that I am going to use right here on camera, so you can see how to do it. This might be a bit of a long video, and I do apologise if it is, but all you need really is tissue or a nice microfiber towel, and well, your dirty brushes pretty much. That's pretty much the basics of it. I actually have a terry towel here, and as you've seen, this brush is loaded with soap. So what I plan on doing is just rinsing it off. Now I curl it on my finger because soap will want to meet up at the base, and you want that because that soap, the longer it stays on the bristles, the more it's pulling the paint out. Now I know there are some artists soap out there. Again, Awesome Paint Job Les uses them. But now take a look at the condition of that bristle. Perfect and ready to use again. This one is a Model Master again, but this is a 0. Okay. Again, it's only been soaking for about 10-15 minutes. You can leave them to soak for up to 4 or 5 hours. And then you've got to refreshen the soap. Again, as you can see, there is soap that's pulled up around the head of the brush. Just take a finger or a Q-tip or whatever you want to use and just roll it around in your finger. And now look at those bristles. Straight as an arrow. See? That's all you got to do, guys. Just use regular soap. Especially if you like to use your brushes. For example, here in front of me I have some Imperial Guard that I am painting up for my Imperial Guard army. This is a Stormtrooper, and that's I'm painting. I've got a whole platoon of them right here. I'm going to be doing them up with a specific jungle camo. So I've got all my greens, as you can see. I've got Forest Green, Pine Needle Green, Kelly Green, OD Green. I've got all the greens that's needed, even some browns. And again, as I was telling you, it's built up around the head. So you just take your finger and roll it. You can even see the dirt on the soap, so you know it's pulling it out. Now again, I know that there are some soaps out there that claim that they condition the tips of your brush so you can get the ultra fine precision tips and stuff, but those soaps are like 20 bucks and it's just regular soap. Just regular soap. Here you go. Take a look at this brush. It's all gnarly and horrible, right? Right in front of you. Bone dry. Bone dry. We just soak it. Again, all it is just soap, hence that's why there's bubbles in it, in case you're wondering. So all it is just straight soap. Sometimes I may, if it's a stubborn colour, like a hard pixelated colour like blacks, and various other colours, I'm not racist, but if it's just a specific colour in question that's dyeing the bristles, you may want to soak it in a mixture of the Orange Blast and soap for maybe 12 hours. Okay? Now just, and here's the soap. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe the soap off. So you see there's no colours or anything on it. I'm just going to do a circle motion. And you can start seeing it literally congeal right there in front of you. Now you can go in circle motions, stroking motions, doesn't really matter, it's whatever floats your boat and it's whatever works, it's whatever gets the paint off the brush. Now especially if you're painting, again, I like to do it a few times, because you really don't want this staying in your brush. I mean, here you go, it's starting to lather up, you can see the dirt coming out of the brush. Now think about it, if that's coming out of the brush, it's not going on your models. Plain and simple. And that's why I do it. That's exactly why I do this, guys. A bar of soap is probably what, $1.50? Cheaper than that at your Family Dollar. And you could even use Family Dollar brand soap. It doesn't have to be anything uber expensive, you know. Doesn't have to be that expensive at all. Here you go, guys. This is really starting to look gnarly. See? And you thought that brush was clean. It weren't clean. So, and I am guilty of doing one specific thing, and I was always told if you want a good tip to do it, which is to, after you're painting, you take the brush and you and you put it in your mouth. Well, look at all the chemicals you just put in your mouth. Look at all the dirt you just put in your mouth. I do this once a month, guys, or whenever I'm about to do a really big paint job, like an army, or a big centerpiece, or a tank, or, you know, especially in 40k, because you really want your tanks to be the centerpiece. You really want your HQs, your captains, you know, you really want them to stand out. You want them to shine, and can't do that if you're using, well, pretty much broken tools. I know some paint artists, they have sets of brushes only for specific armies, and it got ridiculous to the point where he had jars, and I mean jars, of brushes, and it would just say Imperial Guard only, Chaos only, Cultists only, Nurgle only, you know, simply because he didn't clean his brushes, and he didn't want Chaos Brown or Chaos Black. Now, as you can see now, look at the brush. 2-3 rinse cycles, and it's getting back into shape. It's really getting back in there. I'll keep doing this process maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 times. The longest time I ever did this was about 19 times, 20 times to one brush, and that was my old base coating brush, and it had reds, pinks, purples, greens. It looked like a rainbow had just farted entirely all over my freaking soap. And I mean, there were so many different colors in there. It was so gnarly, and I mean, it was gnarly, guys. It was horrible. And so, again, this is how you can make your brushes last longer. Also, this also shakes out any loose hairs. I've noticed that some brushes that I just bought from Michael's or your art supply store, I'll wash them and a couple of bristles fall out, and I think, oh, that's nothing, that's the way they were packed. But when I do this, I will get a lot of hairs out because just poorly packed. And there we go. Now it's a completely different brush. Completely different. And I'm going to go ahead and finish off these other brushes here. Simply because again, as I said, when I go to paint something, I want to know that any brush I reach for or need will be the brush that will do the job. I don't get me wrong, I am a firm believer in having more than one set of sockets to change out a part in your truck or your car, but when it comes to brushing, when it comes to brushing miniatures or whatever, you tend to get used to just one specific brush brand, or one specific handle or style. If you notice, I actually have a multitude of different brushes here, simply because not all one brush is the same. I know Awesome Paint Job Les, again, I hate to go back to Les again, but I know Les, he's kickstarting a company that's had their own brush line, and good for them. You know, if I had that sort of income, I would back them. I would love to back them and test their products, and give you guys an honest appraisal and an honest feedback. And you know, while I'm doing this, I want to say a big shout out to Bootleg Painter. Welcome back, buddy. I'm sorry about your friend's passing. I know how it feels. I recently lost a really close and dear friend to me. There's that void that just never gets filled. So I know your pain, my brother. I really do. Again, because I already washed this brush, I think 2-3 days ago. No, today's Sunday, it was Thursday. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, 3 days ago. I know it really doesn't need that much of a paint clean job, but I did use it on a BF 109. And so, and there we go. Tip sharp as a spear. And again, as I said, guys, there are going to be some brushes that are going to be stubborn to this technique, and then there's going to be brushes that absolutely adore this technique, and you know, they'll be like, oh my god, thank you. I mean, think about it, guys. We love our painting supplies, our specific model brands of paint, model kits, brushes, mixing trays. You know, we're all particular brand whores, and I really don't like to say that, but we are. I mean, I like a Ford car. Actually, I like a Ford truck, a Chevy car, and Dodges should just be left alone. But, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, I'm against, you know, imports or anything. I'm not. And Chris Chapman, thank you for the advice on using the windshield washer fluid as a paint thinner. My God, man, my wet blending has just skyrocketed. Thank you so much for those tips, Chris, who actually lives in Salt Lake, and who's actually only he's about 200 miles away from me, 200-300 miles. I'll try and get to do a sit-down interview with Chris for you guys. He's a good model, beautiful car modeler. God, his stuff is just amazing, absolutely amazing. And if you don't know who he is, I'll put a link in the video description so you can follow him on YouTube. Guy's absolutely amazing. He knows his stuff. You know, he does everything he can to help everyone he can. And now, there we go, much better tips there again. There we go. And so this is what I'm doing, guys. I'm just farting around, doing the occasional model build here, there. The P51 Mustang is over there. She's almost finished. I've just got to film the canopy and whatnot being put on, finish up the touches on the engine, put her on her own stand, and then put her away because she's part of a set diorama. I just wanted to whet your appetite as to what I'm building. The next thing that's that diorama is, well, I just told you, one of the BF109, I believe it's an E4, and a B17. So, or a B25. I haven't made up my mind yet as to what one, B17 or B24 Mitchell or the Liberator. I haven't really made up my mind yet. Perfect. And there we go, guys. I just leave them to dry a little bit there on my terry towel. Put the soap over there, and I'm done. And pretty much that's it, guys. This is exactly what I do when I'm cleaning my brushes. I tend to do this usually after I've done the very last model in the line, so then that way as the models are drying, my brushes are clean and they're drying ready for the next lot. I hope this tip helped, and if it did, you know, give us a thumbs up, a like, a follow, a share, and everything else. And as always, from, you know, modeling karma from me to you. And take care, and I'll see you guys on the far side. Peace and love.